Welcome back, pro wrestling fans. Welcome back, IWC. It's me. It's me. It's the G.O.C. coming to you live to tape 25 feet below the surface of the earth here on Guardian of Chaos, the YouTube channel, for another special edition of Chaos Corner. For today, this date in pro wrestling history for November 27th. Fans, I can't thank you enough for being here from the bottom of my heart. You know it means the world to me. We're coming up on 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 watch hours, here to go live very soon. One man, unique, unedited, unscripted, raw dog for you, the fans. Shout out to our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, because if he's for us, nobody else can be against us. Once again, we are here for today, this date in pro wrestling history. Welcome back from your Thanksgiving holiday weekend. I hope everybody had your fill and spent time with your family and friends and your close ones and stayed safe. Situational awareness. Be prepared. Tomorrow's not guaranteed for any of us. So I just want to get that out of the way first. Of course, follow me on all social media platforms, and you know what they are. Twitter, AKX, Instagram, Facebook, Gitter, Gab, Truth Social, Rumble. I cover it all for you, the fans. We're going to bounce off all those other social media platforms to meet me back here on Guardian of Chaos, the YouTube channel. I haven't been here in a few days. We took the weekend off, but it's great to be back here on Chaos Corner. This is going to be a banger, a bonanza, an extravaganza. All right, fans. We're off all the other social media platforms, and you know what they are, at Big Daddy G.O.C. on X, a.k.a. Twitter. And the G.O.C. stands for the Guardian of Chaos. On Instagram, it's the Guardian of Chaos. On Facebook, there's two accounts. Prodigio Fidelis El Guardian, in honor of my heritage. And, of course, the old standby, J-Brony. For all you jabronis. And no offense, man. Kayfabe, it's a work. Don't be so sensitive. J-Brony. And of course, Gitter, Gab, Truth Social, and soon to come over to Rumble Live. You're not going to want to miss that one. Wait a minute. I'm live. You guys understand that. And I'm taping at the same time. Bah! Fuck it. You get the idea. Again, greetings and salutations. How about we're coming up on the end of November into December, and the birth of Christ, Christmas, is right around the corner. So let's get into brass tacks here, because I have an unbelievable show with news, notes, and information that you're going to find spectacular. Again, hit that like button, subscribe, share this out, leave me a comment, inbox me, email me. No super chats, no Patreon, no paywall, Venmo, PayPal, Venmo, whatever the heck it is you call it. It's you and me. And just know that I know, and you know that I know, that you're watching. Go to my community page. You'll always see the updates. I try to keep it there in real time. So again, kick back and relax. As you can see, I have my coffee. I already had a nice bowl of oatmeal. It's semi-early here in the morning, and I want to get this out to you guys because I missed being here. I miss not being here on a daily basis. But again, you understand with the holiday season, so we're going to try to keep it as consistent as possible. Not only for me, as my stress reliever and much-needed distraction in the insanity of what's going on in current day 2023, not only in the United States of America, but across the globe. So as I say in the beginning of my shows to open up, stay aware, situational awareness, and be prepared. That's all I can say to you. It's a tough time out there, but we can all get through this with faith, not fear. Understand that. I don't want to get too crazy here with politics or religion, but it's my fucking channel anyway, so if you don't like it, change the channel. Again, no offense, man, kayfabe. Oh, a little too close? Too early in the morning? All right. School's in session. November 27th, 1949, NWA World Heavyweight Champion Orville Brown, unable to defend his title due to injuries sustained in a car accident, which ended his career, forfeits the title to his scheduled opponent, Lou Thesz. Now, Thesz would go on to unify all the different versions of the World Heavyweight title to create one unified and undisputed heavyweight championship, which really it's the way it's supposed to be. I mean, I know we're coming off a Survivor Series weekend, the return of Randy Orton, and of course, like Mussolini and Gandhi, the cult of personality. CM Punk also returned to Survivor Series this past weekend when nobody else thought it would happen. Now, I wasn't a huge Punk fan back in the early and mid-2000s era, but I did respect his ability. When he came to AEW a couple years ago, I liked the way that he stuck up for himself and tried to put these punks in their place. And no disrespect to anyone out there, but the people who say, oh, I don't need any advice from veterans and old-timers, he stuck up and tried to be a locker room leader and give advice, and you see what happened to him. I supported him in AEW, and I support his return now in WWE. And then supposedly Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins and everybody's all worked up. Work, kayfabe, you decide. Just know that with the exception of perhaps the Montreal screw job and what happened to Bret Hart, the heat that was allegedly between Ric Flair, WCW, and WWE at the time, which we know just about everybody comes back. The legit heat with Bruno Sammartino and Vince McMahon. I mean, there's a few. Obviously, I just spoke about the legit heat that was with AEW and CM Punk. Most of this is a work. You guys get that, right? You get your own discernment, whether it be in faith, politics, real world affairs, or the world of professional wrestling. But again, back to 1949, on this date in history, November 27th, Lou Thesz and the concept of the oldest wrestling group in the world, the National Wrestling Alliance, did it the right way back then in the day. And that's why I'm from the golden era, and that's why I do this show for this date in pro wrestling history. Thesz went on to hold that unified, undisputed NWA championship for 2,300 days. Since that's how we do it now, everyone's talking about days and reigns and stuff like that. Now, not Roman Reigns, although he's the current champion. So let that sink in for November 27th, 1949. Let's jump back into the time machine here at Chaos Corner. November 27th, 1970. Jack Briscoe defeats Tarzan Tyler to win the NWA Florida TV title in Tampa, Florida. Fast forward in the time machine. November 27th, 1986. Keep this in mind for the year 1986 in general and where the world of pro wrestling was, and especially on this date in history, November 27th, when you talk about ratings and live attendance and rivalries and territories. So in, let's see, in 86, what am I, 23 years old at that point? Balls deep into the world of professional wrestling, if you know what I mean. No offense, man. Don't be so sensitive with the balls deep. I wrote a poem about it. One of these days, I'll bring it out to Chaos Corner. November 27th, 1986. Pay attention, fans, because this is one of the greatest days in pro wrestling history. Go back and check out this stuff on YouTube of what I'm going to talk about. The NWA Jim Crockett Promotions holds Starrcade 86, dubbed the Night of the Skywalkers, at the Greensboro Coliseum in Greensboro, North Carolina, and the Omni in Atlanta, Georgia. The locations would alternate having matches and show the balance of the card via closed circuit TV, like is how I watched the original WrestleMania. I had to go to a theater, Lyman Hall to be accurate, to watch it on closed circuit TV. What a time to be alive. There were also locations set up in other places in the country where fans could see the closed-circuit TV broadcasts from both venues. Here's the lineup, here's the results, here's the card for this date in pro wrestling history, November 27th, 1986. Tim Horner and Nelson Royal defeat Don and Rocky Kernoodle. Hector Guerrero and Baron von Raschke defeat Shaska Watley and the Barbarian. Wahoo! McDaniel defeats Rick Rude in an Indian strap match. Jimmy Valiant defeats Paul Jones in a hair versus hair match when Valiant knocked out Jones with a foreign object that Jones was going to use. After the bout, here's the caveat, Paul Jones had his head shaved as we move on here in Chaos Corner. But then Rick Rude and the Raging Bull Manny Fernandez ran in to beat down handsome Jimmy Valiant, the Boogie Woogie Man, if you will. Tully Blanchard defeats Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, in a first blood match to win the NWA TV title. But the ref was down and out. The old ref bump. Blanchard bloodied Rhodes with a roll of coins. Everyone was all worked up with Juice Robinson and MJF because of what's going on in the Middle East and the roll of coins and poor timing. But it's going back for decades and years. I understand the sensitivity of current day. But come on now. It's a distraction. Let's get our shit together here. So Blanchard bloodied Rhodes with a roll of coins and then had manager J.J. Dillon wipe the blood from Dusty's head, hence Tully Blanchard and the NWA TV title. The NWA World Tag Team Champions, the Rock and Roll Express, defeat Ole and Arn Anderson in a steel cage match when Ricky Morton pinned Ole Anderson. Brad Armstrong versus Jimmy Garvin ended in a 15-minute draw. The NWA United States Tag Team Champions, Crusher Khrushchev and Ivan Koloff, defeat Bobby Jaggers and Dutch Mantel in a no disqualification match when Koloff pinned Jaggers. Central States Champion Sam Houston defeats superstar Bill Dundee via disqualification. Big Bubba Rogers defeats Ronnie Garvin via knockout in a Louisville street fight. After the ref was out, the old ref bump again, Garvin gave Rogers a pile driver, and Jim Cornette then gave Garvin a whack with the old tennis racket. I know you're watching, Corny. I know you are. You and Brian last. I get it. The ref then suddenly is awoke, not to be confused with the garbage today. Counted to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then announced, pay attention here, that the first man up would be the winner. Garvin was up first, but good old Corny whacked him again while the ref was distracted by Big Bubba. Bubba was declared the winner at that point. How about that? Put that in your pipe and smoke it. We continue on November 27th, 1986, Night of the Skywalkers, NWA JCP. Here's the big one. And again, thousands of fans, 15,000 or 18,000, whatever was the attendance, plus all the different closed-circuit locations, not only in the Greensboro Coliseum, the Omni in Atlanta, and then all over the country. Again, we're going to stay in 1986, so you're going to see what I'm talking about. The Road Warriors defeat the Midnight Express of Bobby Eaton and Dennis Condrey in a scaffold match, a.k.a. the Night of the Skywalkers. After the match, Cornette was chased up and off the scaffold. It's all on YouTube, legendary, unbelievable. Cornette suffered a legit broken leg when Bubba Rogers, who was supposed to catch Corny, misjudged his fall and Cornette crashed to the mat. I said, Max, you guys get it. Do I have to come up with the Bully Ray reference once again? Do I? Okay. I do? Okay. Busted Open Radio, Bully Ray. Busted Open After Dark. The Dudley Boys, perhaps one of the greatest tag teams of all time. 2-time Hall of Famer. He said to me personally in the locker rooms back in the 05-06 era, when I was still active as a pro wrestling manager, managing the Outcast Killers, Diablo Santiago, Oman Tortuga, going for the NWA World Tag Team titles in a series of tables matches. I had my spots. Blah, what's up? You guys get it. You've heard the story if you're a regular here. He took me in the background, and again, Bubba loved me. Bully loved me. The Dudleys, we worked together even to this day. We try to stay in touch. I just saw Devon at the Hall of Fame, New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, and FanFest 8. He said to me, Big Daddy, the guardian of chaos, if you will, give Big Daddy 5 spots and he'll fuck up 4. I consider that to be a compliment coming from a legend like Bully Ray. Take it however you want. Also, 1986, November 27th, Night of the Skywalkers. The NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Nature Boy Ric Flair defeated Shitoada Nikita Koloff via disqualification after the ref was knocked out not only once, but twice. Again, I refer to the old ref bump, which they're still using here 35, 40 years later. In current day 2023. Let's stay in the time machine for November 27th, 1986. Again, to my point, what a year, what a night. Thousands upon thousands of fans. Today's WWE, AEW, New Japan, TNA Impact, MLW, Ring of Honor, whatever, AAA, CMML, any independent, whatever you want to talk about, couldn't carry the jockstrap of the territories in these companies, especially back in the 80s. I'm just telling it like it is. I'll say that to say this. Pay attention. The UWF held their Superdome extravaganza at the Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana, with over 13,000 fans. On an interesting note, the year before, Bill Watts expanded the territory and renamed it to the WWF. It was under the banner of Mid-South Wrestling, another unbelievable territory, and Bill Watts, perhaps one of the best bookers of all time. They held a short card at the Superdome when it was Mid-South the year before, 1985, and showed Starrcade on closed-circuit TV. Again, what a year. What a decade. This year, November 27th, 1986, they presented a full card on the same night. No doubt taking away attention from Starrcade in the Louisiana area. On that card, Jeff Gaylord defeats Art Cruz. Gary Young goes over on the Libyan. The Angel of Death defeats Ken Massey. UWF World Tag Team Champions Leroy Brown and Wild Bill Irwin defeat Joe Savaldi, Jumpin' Joe Savaldi, and Gary Young when Irwin pinned Young. Iceman King Parsons defeats Gustavo Mendoza. No me jodas, maricón, muévete, culo, pendejo. No offense, man. I speak like 5 languages. You guys get it. Chavo Guerrero defeats Sting via disqualification. The missing link. No, that's not here around my neck. You know what I did for my career. 25 years behind the walls. The missing link defeated Rick Steiner, the dog-faced gremlin. How about that? The Fantastics defeat Mike George and Jack Victory on that same card. Let's stay in 1986 with the UWF at the Superdome. As we continue here in Chaos Corner, you gotta be prepared. You gotta have your notes. I do my due diligence and deep dive and research for you, the fans. Otherwise, what's the sense of being here? Gotta make it relatable. Gotta make it informative. Gotta check your facts. That's what I do. The UWF TV champion, Savannah Jack, defeated Buddy Landell via forfeit. Hacksaw Jim Duggan, whoa, defeats UWF World Champion, the One-Man Gang, via disqualification. And obviously, if you know the rules and the history, the belt doesn't change on a DQ, so One-Man Gang retained the UWF World Championship. On that same night, the One-Man Gang wins a 2-ring battle royal. And if you notice the history and what I'm talking about here and you're paying attention, on these cards, whether it be managers, wrestlers, sometimes wrestle 2 and 3 times in one night, like I did in the early 90s, middle 90s, late 90s, into the 2000s, mid 2000s. As a pro wrestling manager that took the fucking bumps, and I say it all the time, not only a hype man, promos, but I would come out 2 and 3 times with my stable. Remember that, and how different it is today in current 2023. I'm just saying it like it is. Also, on that same card, UWF, November 27th, 1986, Dr. Death Steve Williams defeats Michael Hayes in a steel cage match. Let's stay in the time machine and prove my point here. November 27th, we're still in 1986 at 23 years old. What a time to be alive. World Class Championship Wrestling held their Thanksgiving Star Wars event at the Reunion Arena in Dallas, Texas, in over 10,000, in front of 10,000, 15,000 fans. On that card, Scott Casey went over on Tim Brooks, Killer Tim Brooks. World-class TV champion Crusher Yurkov, let me say it again, world-class TV champion in 1986 on this date in pro wrestling history, Crusher Yurkov, was who? This never gets old. Bueller? Anyone? Bueller? Hello, McFly. Crusher Yurkov was none other than the Beast from the East, Bam Bam Bigelow. How about that for useless tidbits of facts and information here on Pro Wrestling History? This date, November 27th. Now, the world-class TV champion, Crusher Yurkov, a.k.a. Bam Bam Bigelow, as I just said, versus Steve Simpson, ends in a 15-minute draw. Dingo, the Dingo Warrior, a.k.a. the Ultimate Warrior, defeats Master G, George Wells, in a chain match. That's right, George Wells, Master G. Should I? I haven't been here in a few days. I said a M-A-S, a T-E-R, a G with a double E. I said I go by the unforgettable name of the man they call the Master G. Well, my name is known all over the world. All the foxy ladies and pretty girls are going down in history as the baddest brother there ever could be. Now I'm filling the highs, filling the lows, and keeping outside of all the hoes. The singing wrestler on TikTok has nothing on the G.O.C. on YouTube. That's right, I'm calling you out. The singing wrestler on TikTok, a.k.a. owner of Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling, in the WWF from 1984 to 1992. Debut match for The Undertaker, King Kong Bundy, the Hart Foundation, Greg the Hammer Valentine, Ted DiBiase. The list goes on and on. Class of 2014 New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Famer, my former podcast partner, Mario Mancini, the singing wrestler on TikTok. You got nothing on the G.O.C. doing karaoke on YouTube. How about that, Mancini? Put that in your pipe and smoke it. It's a work, man. Kayfabe. So again, Dingo defeats Master G in a chain match. Mike Von Erich over Brian Adias via disqualification. Abdullah the Butcher defeats Mr. USA Tony Atlas via disqualification. The world-class heavyweight champion Kevin Von Erich defeats Black Bart. Lance Von Erich, the made-up Von Erich, and Mike Von Erich defeat Brian Adias and Maniac Matt Bourne. Brian Adias, you get it. I don't know why they called him Adidas. It was Brian Adias. Kevin Von Erich defeats Al Madrill in a lights-out match. Fritz Von Erich, the leader of the clan, and I can't wait till the Iron Claw comes out in just a few weeks, the story of the Von Erichs. It ought to be, as the kids say, a banger. Fritz von Erich defeats Abdullah the Butcher via disqualification in an Iron Claw versus a Python Sleeper submission match. Again, to my points of not only this date in history in 1986 and thousands of fans flocking to the live events and arenas. Remember that. But also my point of how wrestlers and managers and OGs in the golden era performed once, twice, 3 times on an event. Worked and wrestled and traveled 5, 6, 7 days a week, sometimes 8 times in a week, doing a double shot on a weekend. Let that sink in about current day and how much they defend titles and how much guys work. And I'm not necessarily talking about the independents, because on the independent scene in 2023, some of the independent talent works more shows, more live events than the WWE and AEW. Let that sink in. What a year, 1986. What cards, what history. This is all on YouTube. You can go out and check it, or on the Cock or whatever, but the Peacock, no offense. Fast forward here in the time machine. November 27th, 1991. The WWF holds Survivor Series in Detroit, Michigan at the Joe Louis Arena. The Undertaker defeats Hulk Hogan for the World Wrestling Federation World Heavyweight title when The Undertaker gave Hogan a tombstone onto a steel chair that was slid into the ring by Ric Flair. This was Flair's pay-per-view debut for the WWF, lasting as the sole survivor in his match. Now here's a caveat. Flair had been holding up the World Class Wrestling WCW world title. Remember that in 91. But due to a lawsuit, was no longer allowed to. So this is what the fall president, Jack Tunney, we know Vince Jr. was in charge, did on that night. It's on the network. In order to continue the gimmick with the WWF, they gave him a tag team title to hold up and then ordered it to be blurred out on TV. Now, how many of you honestly knew that? Leave a comment, because you know the whole angle. Flair was still WCW champion. They were going with the whole gimmick in the WWF. This was his pay-per-view debut in the biggest match of that year with Hogan and the Taker, and Taker becomes the champion. Flair slides in the chair, and then they give him a tag team belt from the WWF to portray it as the WCW World Heavyweight title, and then blur it out on the pay-per-view. Again, this is what I do here on the Deep Dives and why I present this to you. You don't get this many places else that on this platform. This is not just a podcast. This is a reality show, a TV show, all wrapped up into one. That's what you get here, as I say. One man, unique, unedited, unscripted, raw dog. Back into the time machine, November 27th, 1992. The Rock and Roll Express defeat the Heavenly Bodies, Stan Lane and Dr. Tom Pritchard, to win the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Tag Team titles in Welch, West Virginia, ending the third reign for the Bodies and starting the second reign for Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson. Let's fast forward here on Chaos Corner. Well, don't go anywhere. We're going to go to November 27th, 1999, ECW at the ECW Arena in Philadelphia. Hold on. Don't go anywhere. Come on, man. Can I have some Java? We're not even 30 minutes in yet. Yes, and I am a cat lover. I have a 15-pounder Maine Coon, the boy, Emilio, who's a savage fucking beast. He really is. He's like a dog. He's been trained like a dog. What an animal. All right, as I said, November 27, 1999. ECW at the ECW, the famed 2300 Arena. Nova and Kid Cash defeat Bo and Jacked Up when Nova pinned Jacked Up. Jerry Lynn goes over on Little Guido. Hey, Azzo, oh, Abafangule Mamara, oh, Little Guido, the full-blooded Italians. No offense to all my Italian friends. I'm Italian too, man. I told you, I speak several languages. Super crazy over Ikudo Hidaka. Konnichiwa, bitches. Origato. The G.O.C. All my friends over there in the Pac Rim. Simon Diamond goes over on Jazz. Chris Candido and Rhino defeat Danny Doring and Amish Roadkill. How about that? Spike Dudley defeats Mikey Ripwreck in the Battle of the Giant Killers. Axel Rotten and Balls Mahoney. We've got the biggest balls of them all. Who's got big balls? He's got big balls. She can't possibly have big balls, but Chaos Corner has the biggest balls of them all. Are your peaches fuzzy, man? Are you grapefruits fuzzy? I'm just saying, man. Go out and maybe get Manscaped or something. I don't know what to tell you. Axel Rotten and Balls Mahoney defeat C.W. Anderson and Bill Wiles. ECW TV champion, the whole fucking show, Rob Van Dam, defeats Uganda Kamala number 2. Who knew, right? Sandman goes over on Raven with Tommy Dreamer as the special guest referee. ECW World Champion, that 70s guy, Mike Awesome, defeats Just Incredible. Obviously to retain the ECW World Championship. Let's go back into the time machine here on Chaos Corner. Thanks for bearing with me. Much love and respect to you guys out here to check me out. Because I know a lot of guys that I support and put over, whether it be JD Off the Script, Don Tony, the Chi-Town Smark. I put all you guys over, moderate your channels, been here for you since day one. Do you think you watch my fucking show? Some of you claim that you do, but I don't see the like button, I don't see the comments. So I'm calling all of you out, whether you watch this or not. How about a little love coming back? How about that? November 27th, 2001. The World Wrestling All-Stars holds a show at the Odyssey Arena in Belfast, Ireland. Boy, are they having their problems over there, especially Conor McGregor trying to censor free speech. The damn government, everywhere it is. I don't want to give the shadow band here or any strikes against me. I'm just telling it like it is, because I am the guardian of chaos. In order to get respect, you have to start with respecting yourself. Once you do that, you open other people's minds to respecting you. And we all know there's 3 types of people in this world. Those who don't know what happened, those who wonder what happened, and people like the G.O.C. Big Daddy that make fucking things happen. Again, Belfast, Ireland, drawing over 5,000 fans. Not bad. Back then in 2001, the World Wrestling All-Stars. Quite a card, too. Here's the lineup. Cruiserweight champion Juventud Guerrero defeats Psychosis. Gangrel defeats Luna in a black wedding match. You can find this on the tube. Crowbar over Mr. Wiggle Wiggle, Norman Smiley in a hardcore tables match. Grandmaster Sexay, Brian Krister defeats the Disco Inferno. Conan, as Don Callis said in Mexico, Conan and Nathan Jones defeat Lenny and Lodi. Buff, and he's the stuff, and he's certainly too much. Buff Bagwell defeats from Harlem Heat Stevie Ray. WWA World Champion, old slapnuts himself, Jeff Jarrett defeats the Road Dogg. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you. Do I have to say it? For all you geeks and marks and dweebs and... no offense. I'm a mark myself, man. I'm not offended by it. My over 50 years as a fan, my over 3 decades as a pro wrestling manager, you get it. Don't be offended. The D-O-double-G. Back into the time machine, November 27th, 2009, if you will. Alexis Pillman, the stepdaughter of the late Brian Pillman, who had been working the indies on and off as Sexy Lexi Pillman, unfortunately and tragically passes away at the age of 26 following an automobile accident. Now, Pillman debuted in 2008 working a Georgia indie promotion, if I get my notes correct, and also appeared for Showtime All-Star Wrestling in Tennessee as a valet for Sean Casey. Here's the caveat. Alexis also made an appearance in June of 2008 for TNA on a house show in Cincinnati. Again, the caveat, the connection, Sean Casey was trained by Brian Pillman, the loose cannon, an unbelievable athlete and an unfortunate tragedy in itself. We go back into the time machine here on Chaos Corner. November 27th, 2012. And again, useless tidbits of information of pro wrestling history. It's announced that Lex Luger was working on an autobiography. The total package, if you will. Fast forward into the time machine. November 27th, 2005. In front of 15,000 fans. Speaking of the Survivor Series, WWE holds their Survivor Series once again at the Joe Louis Arena in Detroit, Michigan. In the only Survivor Series match on the card, and this is history, Team SmackDown, Batista, Rey Mysterio Jr., JBL, Bobby Lashley, and the Viper, Randy Orton, defeat Team Raw, consisting of Shawn Michaels, Kane, The Big Show, Carlito Cool, I spit in the face of a pool of cool, and Chris Masters, who was soon released from the wellness policy after this. After the bout, the SmackDown team was celebrating with Randy Orton when hooded figures carrying a casket came out and boom, bang! Lightning struck the casket and set it on fire. If you remember, it's not that long ago, 2005. The Undertaker emerged and attacked Team SmackDown. What an infamous night that was with the pyro and all that they put into in the WWE at that time. On that same card, you can't see me, well, I guess you can now. John Cena defeats Kurt Angle to retain the WWE title. Booker T defeats Chris Benoit in the first match in the best of 7 series for the vacated United States title. Trish Stratus defeats Melina to retain the women's title. Good old Triple H defeats Ric Flair in a last man standing match. And then in a battle of whatever you want to call it, Theodore Long, Teddy Long if you will, defeats Eric Bischoff. That's November 27th, 2005 on this date in pro wrestling history. As we move on here on Chaos Corner, today, November 27th, would have been the 71st birthday of Playboy Buddy Rose, not weighing in at 285 pounds, 218 pounds. He was quite the character. Today, Buddy Rose would have been 71, who passed away in 2009 at the age of only 56. Now, if you remember correctly, Buddy Rose was on the original WrestleMania. This never gets old, and I'm going to refer to it again. Anyone? Bueller? Anyone? McFly? Who was Buddy Rose? How was Buddy Rose involved in the original WrestleMania? WrestleMania 1, if you will? Buddy Rose was the masked executioner at WrestleMania, losing to Tito Santana. Rose had quite the career. AWA tag team titles several times with, what do they call them? There was Playboy Buddy Rose and, what do they call Doug Summers? I forget what they called Doug Summers, but they were quite the formidable tag team in the AWA. And of course, Buddy Rose's legacy and tradition and honor in the Pacific Northwest and holding that heavyweight title several times. Rest in peace, Buddy Rose. Today, November 27th, would have been the 61st birthday of the British Bulldog, Davy Boy Smith, who passed away in 2002 from a heart attack. You guys know the history. If you don't, you know it now. He was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2020, just 3.5 years ago. Brother-in-law to the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be, Bret the Hitman Hart. And if you go to the 1992 SummerSlam match of the year, perhaps one of the matches in SummerSlam history, one of the greatest of all time, Davey Boy and Bret Hart, 1992 SummerSlam. Go check it out. That's what I give you here. Davey Boy obviously was a former Intercontinental Champion, former WWF Tag Team Champions with the Dynamite Kid, and of course, the late great Owen Hart, for tidbits of information here on Chaos Corner. We wrap things up today, 40 minutes in. Thank you guys for being here. This is one of my favorite shows that I've been doing over the last couple of months because of the unbelievable history on this date and this month and coming up into December and early 2024. We have some unbelievable history markings and news and notes in the world of pro wrestling coming up. You're not going to want to miss these shows. I'm here just about daily. You guys know where to find me. You're not going to want to miss it. Let's go forward to go back and back to go forward. November 27th, 1999. Hiro Matsuda passes away of colon and liver cancer at the age of 62. Rest in peace to one of the greatest ever, one of the greatest trainers ever. Japan, Mexico, United States, Florida Championship Wrestling. Matsuda was one of the best. Here's the list, partial list, of unbelievable superstars that Matsuda trained. Hulk Hogan, Lex Luger, Ron Simmons, the Great Muta, Scott Hall, Paul Orndorff, among others. And remember this, fans. I know some of you do, maybe some of you don't, but that's why I'm here and that's why you're tuning in. Hiro Matsuda managed the Four Horsemen. That's right. After the exit of J.J. Dillon, the original manager of the Four Horsemen, Hiro Matsuda stepped in and managed the Four Horsemen. So rest in peace on this date, November 27th, 1999, Hiro Matsuda, one of the greats of this business. Fans, that's all I have for today, November 27th, on this date in pro wrestling history. I hope you enjoyed the show because I know that for me, this is my lifeblood. Not only my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, my family, my wife, my daughters, my late great daughter Brittany, my granddaughter, my son-in-law, you the fans. I couldn't do it without you guys. I'm truly honored and humbled to be here and present this to you. Again, it's my motivation. It's a much needed distraction. Along with pro wrestling and America's game, baseball. These are my motivations, my passions, my loves. I'll say that to say this because I tell it like it is. Don't you dare miss it.